Welcome to part 12 of the Ultimate Unsolved Mysteries Iceberg, where we explore dark and fascinating mysteries. In this series, we deep dive unsolved mysteries, including true crime, mysterious disappearances, myths and legends, strange events, internet mysteries, and more. The Burger Chef Slayings. This suggestion comes from subscriber Donnie Lusk. Thanks for the suggestion. Also remember to leave a comment with suggestions on cases. On November 17, 1978, a shocking event unfolded at a Burger Chef restaurant in Speedway, Indiana, that still remains unsolved. 4 young employees disappeared after what seemed to be a robbery at their workplace. The 4 are speculated to have been abducted while they closed the restaurant, likely while they were taking out the day's trash. Their absence sparked concern among their families and eventually led to a dire discovery. All 4 were found deceased in a wooded area, 20 miles from the restaurant, still in their work uniforms. The brutality of the scene was unmistakable, with 2 victims executed by gunfire, 1 stabbed fatally, and the 4th succumbing to asphyxiation caused by blunt force trauma. This tragic outcome signaled a deliberate act of evil rather than a mere robbery gone wrong. The investigation into this case was plagued by missteps from its inception. Authorities initially treated the restaurant scene as a minor robbery, allowing the business to reopen the next day, thereby contaminating potential evidence. The failure to secure the scene, combined with a lack of technological resources available at the time, severely hampered the investigative efforts. A witness initially came forward to state that she had seen 2 white men in their 30s leaving the restaurant area around the time of the crime. However, these men were never identified and never came forward. Over the years, the case saw various suspects and theories, but no definitive leads that led to a resolution. In 1984, inmate Donald Forrester claimed involvement to avoid a prison transfer, offering detailed accounts and offering to lead police to evidence locations. He offered to turn on his accomplices, but in a strange turn of events, the details of what he was planning to do were leaked. He recanted his story, claiming coercion, and no charges were filed. Further, as no corroborating evidence was provided by Forrester, he was never charged in relation to the slayings either. Unfortunately, given the police decision to allow the restaurant to reopen prior to the finding of the missing individuals, as well as the passage of time, likely means this will remain unsolved. Proper evidence wasn't gathered from the scene prior to the reopening of the restaurant. Further, if any physical evidence from the scene was raised at trial, the failure to secure the scene would be an extremely strong point in favor of the defense. It's important to remember that the defense doesn't have to prove a single thing at trial in our common law system. Rather, the onus is entirely on the prosecution to prove, beyond a reasonable doubt, the elements of the offense in question. The Disappearance of Ambrose Bierce. Ambrose Bierce, born on June 24, 1842, in Meigs County, Ohio, became a titan of American literature with a body of work that encompassed satire, horror, and a reflection on the human condition. His journey from a young participant in the horrors of the Civil War to becoming one of the most celebrated figures in American literature is as fascinating as his mysterious disappearance in 1914, presumed in Mexico. Before delving into his disappearance, it's crucial to understand the man. Bierce's early life was marked by hardship and a penchant for literature, influenced by his family's modest but literary background. His service in the Civil War as a young man profoundly impacted him, providing a wealth of experiences that he later distilled into his writings. His military service was distinguished by bravery and a near-constant engagement with death, which shaped his worldview and literary themes. Following the war, Bierce embarked on a career in journalism and literature in San Francisco. He quickly became a prominent figure in the literary scene, known for his sharp wit and satirical prowess. His writings, which included short stories, journalism, and satire, often reflected his cynicism towards human nature and society, earning him the nickname Bitter Bierce. Bierce's literary contributions are significant and still widely read today. I'm sure a large portion of you are familiar with works like An Occurrence at Owl Creek Bridge, and perhaps most famously, The Devil's Dictionary. His storytelling, characterized by its dark humor, irony, and exploration of the supernatural, has led to comparisons with Edgar Allan Poe and has influenced countless writers, both American and international. Further, like Poe, Ambrose Bierce's end is also deeply shrouded in mystery. In 1913, at the age of 71, he embarked for Mexico, intrigued by the then ongoing Mexican Revolution. Despite various theories and sporadic reports, his fate remains one of the great unsolved mysteries of American literature. Some speculate he sought to join the revolution. Others suggest he was seeking a final adventure. Still others believe he met an untimely end at the hands of those who did not appreciate his sharp wit. Further, in one of his final letters, he arguably indicated that he was going there to seek an adventure of the end of his lifetime, to put it in YouTube-friendly terms. Despite extensive searches and investigations, including substantial interventions by the American government, no conclusive evidence has ever been found to determine his ultimate fate. According to Felix Sommerfeld, Pancho Villa's representative in Washington, Bierce was last seen in Chihuahua circa January 1914. However, I would take any evidence from Felix Sommerfeld with a grain of salt, as he was later outed as a German spy. In my view, having reviewed the evidence, there's simply not enough to draw any meaningful conclusions. I don't think we'll ever have a clear idea of what happened to Ambrose Bierce. The Phoenix Freeway Shootings. Between August 27th and September 10th, 2015, the Phoenix area was gripped by a series of incidents that caused widespread terror amongst its residents. Dubbed the Phoenix Freeway Shootings, this sequence of events involved 11 separate incidents, where projectiles damaged vehicles traveling along Interstate 10 and State Route 202. The community was on high alert, as these incidents seemed to target random drivers, heightening the fear of being on the freeways. In the midst of this chaos, law enforcement agencies launched a massive investigation, pooling resources and expertise to apprehend the individual or individuals responsible. The investigation saw its first apparent significant breakthrough on September 11th, when a man and woman were taken into custody. The man was allegedly boasting about his involvement in the shootings to friends. However, they were quickly released and later cleared of any involvement. The complexity of the case was further underscored by instances where road debris was initially mistaken for shooting-related damage, complicating the task of distinguishing between related and unrelated incidents. This suggests that there may have been a mass hysteria element to some of the non-shooting incidents reported. Adding to the investigative challenges, on September 13th, 3 teenagers were arrested for conducting what appeared to be copycat attacks using a slingshot. However, they were determined not to be involved in the shooting incidents. The focal point of the investigation became Leslie Allen Merritt Jr., a 21-year-old landscaper arrested on September 18, 2015, in Glendale, Arizona. Initially, Merritt was charged with multiple felony counts, including aggravated assault and endangerment. Law enforcement officials falsely linked him to the first 4 shootings through ballistic tests on a pistol they claimed he owned, which was found in a pawn shop. In a dramatic turn of events, all charges against Merritt were dropped in April 2016, leading to a comprehensive clearing of his name in August 2020. In a rare turn of events in August 2020, a judge specifically cleared Merritt of all allegations and charges relating to the incident. Merritt's lawyers were able to negotiate a settlement for him for the injustice he suffered. However, the exoneration raised more questions. Who was responsible for the shootings? Unfortunately, due to the botched handling of the case and the laser focus on Merritt, an entirely innocent individual, we will likely never know who the perpetrator or perpetrators were. Mystery Airship Wave of 1896 to 1897. Big shout out to patron Jeffer Metcalf for providing this recommendation. In the late 19th century, the United States was gripped by a phenomenon that would become known as the Mystery Airship Wave of 1896 to 1897. This period marked one of the first major UFO waves in American history, occurring a decade before the Wright brothers' first flight. The sightings began in California in 1896 and quickly spread eastward, generating thousands of reports from citizens across the country. These accounts ranged from simple observations of unexplained lights in the night sky to detailed descriptions of blimp-like vessels carrying human-like occupants. Some witnesses even reported interactions with these beings, who occasionally claimed to be from Mars. The majority of sightings were reported as nighttime encounters with unidentified lights, with more elaborate narratives describing airships comparable to contemporary dirigibles. This widespread nature of the sightings contributed to the mystery and intrigue surrounding the phenomenon. The reports peaked in two phases: the initial wave in California in late 1896, and a subsequent wave across the central and eastern U.S. in the spring of 1897. Public reaction to these sightings was mixed, with responses ranging from awe and fascination to skepticism and outright dismissal. Many accounts were later attributed to misidentifications of celestial objects, such as planets and stars, or dismissed as hoaxes and practical jokes. Some believed the airships were secret experiments by inventors or the government, the theory going that these airships were prototypes. Others saw them as evidence of extraterrestrial visitation, which at the time largely consisted of Martian visitors, reflecting the sensibilities of the time. In addition to the fantastical accounts and hoaxes, the airship sightings were a media sensation. Newspapers across the country reported on the phenomenon with varying degrees of credibility. Some papers sensationalized the sightings, while others aimed to debunk them through rational explanations or demonstrations of how easily the public could be fooled. Interestingly, the day before the first sightings in California, a newspaper called the Sacramento Bee published an article. In this article, it was claimed that an inventor from New York was allegedly planning to fly from New York to California. This event may have set in motion the first sightings, with many additional sightings being driven by mass hysteria over airships. Greenland Sharks. The Greenland shark is one of the most fascinating and mysterious creatures to inhabit the ocean. This enigmatic creature, with its massive, slow-moving form, is not only one of the largest sharks in existence, but also holds the record for the longest lifespan of any vertebrate known to science. The Greenland shark is a marvel, with a body that can stretch up to 23 feet in length and weigh over 3,000 pounds. Characterized by a thick-set figure, small eyes, and a short, rounded snout, this species exhibits a variety of colors ranging from pale creamy gray to blackish brown. The Greenland shark's appearance is further distinguished by the frequent presence of the parasites which attach to the shark's eyes, leaving their eye sockets as hollowed-out homes. You don't have to go back and play that again. Their eyes are eaten away, and the sockets become comfy places for parasites to raise a family. However, this impairment does not seem to hinder the shark's survival, suggesting a reliance on other senses such as smell and hearing to navigate and hunt in the deep, cold waters it calls home. The diet of the Greenland shark is as varied as its habitat, encompassing everything from fish to seals. However, the mystery of the Greenland shark is its incredibly long lifespan, estimated to be between 250 and 500 years. Scientists have attributed this extraordinary longevity to the shark's slow metabolism and adaptation to the frigid deep-sea environments. These sharks do not reach maturity until around 150 years of age, making their life cycle vastly different from that of other shark species. Put more humorously, in an alternative universe where Greenland sharks watch reality TV, they would be watching 160 and pregnant. Recent scientific breakthroughs have enabled researchers to estimate the age of Greenland sharks more accurately through carbon dating of proteins found in the shark's eyes. One study, using this method, found a Greenland shark that could be as old as 512 years, highlighting the species' potential for extreme longevity. At present, it appears that the true upper age limit of the Greenland shark is unknown. However, it would appear that somewhere in the depths of the North Atlantic, there is a shark that was alive during the conquest of Mexico and the early stages of the Reformation. Further, that same shark's great-great-grandparents may have been swimming the seas while Caesar was conquering Gaul. Also, despite the shark being toxic, you may have heard of the Icelandic delicacy based around this creature, hakarl, or fermented shark flesh. Jimmy here, the YouTuber behind the Lazy Chill Zone channel, asking you for a quick favor. If you're enjoying my content, please hit the like and subscribe button and hit that notification bell. My goal is to create the most expansive iceberg series in YouTube history, and I want you along for the ride. Also, consider signing up for a YouTube membership, joining the Patreon, and joining the Discord. There's also Lazy Chill Zone merch available now. Check out the shop link on the video. The skunk ape. The skunk ape, regarded as Florida's version of Bigfoot, is a popular cryptid with a large group of believers. This cryptid, described as a large, hairy, foul-smelling ape-like creature, has captivated the imagination of many, leading to a plethora of sightings, theories, and discussions about its existence. The creature is described as standing 6 to 8 feet tall, weighing around 500 pounds, and is known for its distinctive, pungent odor, akin to a mix between a skunk and roadkill. The first report of what might be a skunk ape was in 1818, when a local newspaper reported an ape active in the region. The first well-documented sighting occurred in 1957, when hunters claimed a large, smelly ape invaded their camp in the Everglades. This encounter set off a chain of sightings that continued to grow over the years. Notable years for skunk ape sightings include 1977, with multiple credible reports. One report in this year included a bus full of tourists witnessing the creature near a bridge. Another was a police officer in Key Largo describing an encounter with a large fur-covered creature emitting a high-pitched wail. The early 2000s saw another spike in reported sightings due to a photograph which raised the profile of the creature substantially. In 2000, the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office received a pair of photos, sent anonymously, showing a large, hairy creature resembling an ape. The anonymous sender, who claimed to be an elderly woman, said the creature had been taking apples from her porch near I-75. She managed to snap pictures of it, concerned it might be an orangutan on the loose that could pose a danger to the community. If you're just listening to this video, I encourage you to take a moment to look at the picture on screen right now. This is the skunk ape claimed to have been seen by the anonymous writer. My view is that the anonymous nature of the letter serves to discredit this photograph, which otherwise looks extremely convincing. The alleged elderly woman claimed to be concerned that there was a marauding ape in her backyard, and was so concerned about it that she sent a photograph. However, despite this quote-unquote concern, she didn't tell the police where they could find her, and never followed up to have them investigate. Only a general area was given, which does not accord with someone who is genuinely concerned about a marauding ape. Further, The inclusion in the letter that the writer is elderly may have been intended to disarm skeptics. I'll come back to my analysis of the photograph at the end of this section. Skunk ape skeptics argue that the lack of concrete evidence, such as clear photographic proof or biological specimens, makes the existence of the skunk ape improbable. Skeptical investigators suggest that sightings could be attributed to misidentification of wildlife. The most common explanation is the American black bear, some of which may suffer from mange, making them appear more ape-like. You're probably expecting me to dismiss the skunk ape, but I'm not going to do that. Unlike other cryptids, the skunk ape is sighted with stunning regularity and over a long period of time. While some individuals are undoubtedly claiming skunk ape sightings for a laugh or as a hoax, numerous credible witnesses have also reported them. I think the skunk ape can be explained by a wide variety of factors, some of which include actual great apes. In terms of the ape theory, I would suggest that some of the sightings could be explained by escapees from private zoos and enclosures. However, this is speculative since I wasn't able to locate any stories of actual apes being captured in Florida. This, however, may explain the quite credible-looking ape photograph. I would also suggest that the black bear theory likely accounts for a number of sightings. People are generally unaware of how fast bears can move bipedally. Skunk apes are also said to let out a loud wail, which can also be associated with bears. Another theory I would put forth is a mass hysteria type event, particularly following well-known sightings. During periods when the skunk ape is quote-unquote trending, people are likely much more susceptible to believing the black bear they saw is actually a skunk ape. Anyway, this is one cryptid I really would love your input on. What are your theories on the skunk ape? The disappearance of Ryan Liu. On July 9th, 2023, Ryan Liu disappeared from his home in Richmond, British Columbia, Canada. He was last seen leaving his home in the Dayton Court area around 8 p.m. on the night in question. Despite the efforts of local law enforcement, Ryan's whereabouts remain unknown. Police later found footage of him walking south on Taylor Way at Main Street in West Vancouver around 10 p.m. the same night, believed to be heading towards the area of the Lions Gate Bridge. Theories regarding Ryan's disappearance are numerous, ranging from the possibility of an intentional departure to the more sinister. Unfortunately, details related to Ryan's disappearance are quite limited. However, the Richmond Royal Canadian Mounted Police are still actively investigating the case. If you have any information with respect to his whereabouts or case, please contact the Richmond RCMP department with details. The Kasa Obake. The Kasa Obake is a yokai or monster from Japanese folklore. Originating from the concept of tsukumogami, where household objects gain a spirit after 100 years, the Kasa Obake represents an umbrella that has come to life. The creature is often characterized by a single eye, a single leg, and sometimes depicted with a long, prehensile tongue. The Kasa Obake's roots can be traced back to the Edo period, when it became popularly depicted in art of the era. But more on this in a moment. Its depiction often varies, but the core elements, a playful spirit, a single eye, and the ability to hop around on one leg, remain virtually consistent across interpretations. Powers attributed to the creature include its ability to startle or surprise humans, often in a playful rather than malevolent manner. While it can sometimes use its tongue to lick people, this action is more mischievous than harmful. Interestingly, despite the ubiquitous nature of this yokai in modern Japanese culture, unlike other yokai, there does not appear to have ever been a genuine belief in this particular creature. The leading theory is that they were invented during the Edo period to fill out the world of known yokai. To put it in modern terms, they were fictional content easily adapted into the yokai stories, which had a long-running basis in the popular culture and folklore of the time. At any rate, they've become so popular now that their later and likely intentionally fictional origin has been all but forgotten. The death of Alexei Navalny. Alexei Navalny, a prominent Russian opposition leader, lawyer, and anti-corruption activist, passed away on February 16, 2024. Born on June 4, 1976, Navalny had established himself as perhaps the most vocal critic of President Vladimir Putin and his administration, focusing particularly on corruption within the Russian government. Despite facing numerous arrests and a near-fatal poisoning in 2020, Navalny remained steadfast in his opposition, leading to his final incarceration. In August 2023, Navalny was sentenced to imprisonment until December 2038. In December 2023, Navalny went missing for 3 weeks. He later re-emerged in a penal colony in the Yamalo-Nenets region of northwestern Siberia. The circumstances surrounding Navalny's death are contentious and have led to international outcry and speculation. Official reports from the Russian prison service suggest that Navalny, quote, felt unwell following a walk within the penal colony and lost consciousness almost immediately. Despite resuscitation efforts, he was declared deceased, apparently virtually immediately. The exact causes of his demise are under investigation, with extreme doubt being cast upon the official version by virtually the entire international community. I hope to have an update on this case in a future addition to this series. Also, by way of footnote, this video was recorded a day after Navalny's passing, and as such, the facts will likely evolve from here. Camelot. Camelot, the legendary castle and court associated with King Arthur, is perhaps the most well-known castle in history. However, like with everything from the King Arthur story, also known more academically as the Matter of Britain, it's shrouded in layers of mystery. The concept of Camelot first appears in the works of 12th century French romances, notably in the Lancelot Grail cycle. This depiction of Camelot was influenced by earlier descriptions of Arthur's court, such as those found in Geoffrey of Monmouth's accounts of Caerleon. However, Camelot's detailed and idealized portrayal, complete with its grand castle, magnificent cathedral, and the Round Table, owes much to these French narratives. These stories painted Camelot not just as a physical location, but as a symbol of Arthur's reign, embodying ideals of chivalry, justice, and noble questing, particularly the pursuit of the Holy Grail. Despite its prominence in literature, the exact location of Camelot has remained elusive, with various sites in Britain being linked to Arthurian legends. Caerleon in South Wales, for instance, has historical ties to Roman Britain and has been associated with Arthur's court in early sources. This connection is supported by the Welsh origins of many Arthurian tales. As discussed in a previous entry in this series, these stories, alongside archaeological evidence and ancient poetry, suggest that Arthur, or the people he was based on, might have been a Welsh or Romano-British leader who fought against Anglo-Saxon invaders. Another significant site is Cadbury Castle in Somerset, an Iron Age hill fort that has been proposed as a possible location for Camelot. Archaeological findings indicate that it was a fortified site with evidence of occupation and use that could correspond to the Arthurian period. Local traditions and the fort's strategic significance bolster its candidacy as Arthur's stronghold, or at the very least, as a stronghold of a warlord who fought against the Anglo-Saxons, which is in essence what Arthur was. Tintagel Castle in Cornwall is linked to Arthur's legend as his birthplace, according to Geoffrey of Monmouth. Archaeological excavations have uncovered evidence of Romano-British occupation. Amazingly, an inscription was revealed, which indicated that one of the ancestors of King Arthur, mentioned by Geoffrey of Monmouth, occupied the castle. Archaeological excavations remain active at Tintagel Castle, with the hope of new and significant findings in coming years. As an aside, when I became fascinated with Arthurian legend as a kid, I had always remembered Tintagel being presented with absolute certainty as Camelot. If you're a fan of Mandela effects, I guess you could say I'm from the Tintagel Camelot universe. Sorry, couldn't resist that one. In my view, Camelot, as we imagine in our collective mind, as a late medieval fortress with medieval knights, does not and cannot exist. That said, the Camelot associated with the inspiration for the historical King Arthur, or one of the historical inspirations, may very well be found with certainty someday. Remember to like and subscribe and also hit that notification bell. Also check out the Patreon, my YouTube membership, and the Discord. Click the links in the description of this video. Shout out to my patrons Noah Schubert, Kazakh Cutie, Kurt the Squirt, Monoxide Wendigo, and Jeffer Metcalf. Until next time, stay safe and healthy. Peace out.